Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. It's Thursday, so we are going to do our Week 11 roundup and preview all those games. We also got our starts of the week and our power rankings. You can find us on Twitter /X at DraftedUp_pod, or, Apple, YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. If you're a listener of the ears instead of a visual guy, just search Drafted Up Podcast. We'll be there. And then word of mouth, we always appreciate the support. That's Nick. I'm Theo. How you doing?
Doing good. Getting ready for this Thursday night game, dude. Oh, it's going to be hopefully a real good one. On paper it is. So I'm really hoping Washington actually shows up.
Brian Robinson's playing, which was a huge shock to me. So a little weird about playing him and Eckler.
I'm still more confident in Eckler, to be honest, PPR wise.
I think Robinson, he's touchdown dependent. He's got to find the end zone to be
for sure
any sort of fan for you to be happy fantasy wise. But I would try to get out of both those guys. But let's dive in. Starts of the week. I know you're feeling unlimited, Nick. Who's your quarterback?
My quarterback's Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson, baby. I was very pro Russell Wilson when they announced him in Pittsburgh and Justin Fields and all that. And Russ has just been cooking, dude. Like literally back to the Seattle days. Let Russ cook, dude. He's been killing it. And they're playing Baltimore this week, so it's a division game. It's going to be a legitimate battle on that field, and it's in Pittsburgh. Home field, home turf, home field advantage is going to be a great environment. And you can't run on Baltimore. So the run game's out of the question. Najee's going to have a Russ game. But Jalen Warren, PPR-wise, might have a big game, so they're going to be passing hard. And Russ has been so efficient. I fully expect Pickens to have a big – we'll get there. But Russ, dude, he's going to be cooking all week. Big Russ guy this week.
Yeah, QB1 in 2 of his 3 starts here in Pittsburgh. So he's been doing really well. Since coming in for Justin Fields. I kind of had this pinpointed. I just had the quarterbacks reversed. I said that
is true.
They would do a switch mid-season and be better, and I just had the 2 quarterbacks wrong. I'm going with rookie sensation Bo Nix. They're at home versus Atlanta. You can pass hard on the Falcons, and Bo Nix can run too. He's got a ton of rushing upside, he's pulling off these big chunk runs with his legs, like getting 15 yards a run, really giving you great fantasy. He's got a great matchup here against Atlanta. I think he's a QB1 going forward. His passing work's getting better as he gets accumulated to his weapons into the NFL, and Denver's starting to get a little healthy. Also, I just don't necessarily trust their actual running game. So I think they're going to be passing more, and I think Bo Nix is just going to continue to get better under Sean Payton. I expect a really good game this week against Atlanta. It could be a shootout.
I agree. I think it's going to be a really good game. Do like the pick as well. So both our quarterbacks are in line for hopefully good games, unlike last week where Danny Jones kind of fumbled the ball.
Yeah, he actually didn't fumble, though. No fumbles for
Surprisingly. He did have a turnover, though.
Yeah. At running back, I'm going...
Who you got?
With Josh Jacobs of the Green Bay Packers as they travel to Chicago to take on division rival, the Bears. The Bears have been bad, dude. Since the bye week, their offense has been the worst. I get it. They fired their offensive coordinator, but that's not going to fix things overnight. And this is a game I don't think Green Bay needs to score a ton of points. They can go up early, say 14-0, and then just run the ball down the Bears' throat and just eat up that time of possession. Bears have a pretty good pass defense. You can run on them, though. And Josh Jacobs has been pretty good this year. He's just not scoring touchdowns. Yeah, his numbers, he's been efficient. He's only got 4 touchdowns total, 3 on the ground, 1 through the air. If his touchdown numbers were up, he'd be in the running back 1 territory based off his other numbers.
Where's he ranked right now?
He is, I do not know off the top of my head. But
that's all good.
He's been really good this year for Green Bay, better than I thought he would be.
I was more so trying to see where he lines up.
He's RB19. He's RB19, which is where we originally had him.
Yeah, I would say that's probably pretty close.
Yeah, but
so
and all
cool
that's
with that,
really
but he's
just
been
lack
pretty
of
good.
touchdowns there for Josh Jacobs, only 4.
Indeed. Well, he's also in a very high-powered pass offense, and Love has just been dealing touchdowns through the air. So, but he has been very productive on the ground for sure. My running back, I'm just gonna give this guy a little shout out just in case it's his last week starting. It's Kareem Hunt. He's been so good since Kansas City's just handed him the rock, and you got to remember they picked him up off the streets, dude. Like, it's not even like he had time to really prepare. He came in week 3 on the team, didn't play, but then week 4 he played in 45% of snaps, and then after that he's been on RB1 every single week except one. He's been so efficient scoring touchdowns. He has 6 already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My math is wrong. 5 touchdowns already through the 5 games that he's played fully. So if it's the last game, it's versus Buffalo. You can run on Buffalo. You can't pass. Run on Buffalo. And you seen it last week with Mahomes. Like 2 weeks ago, it looked like Mahomes was back, and then he played a rough pass defense in Denver last week, and Mahomes did not look ideal. Kareem Hunt, though, he did, dude. He had 17 fantasy points in full PPR. His rushing game wasn't great, but he had 7 catches. So I'm expecting a way bigger rush performance out of Kareem Hunt in what might be his final start for the Kansas City Chiefs. I think he's going to go out there, play with his all to show the team that, hey, I shouldn't lose my job fully when Pacheco comes back. It should be more of a 50-50 thing, and that's kind of how I see it playing for at least the rest of the regular season. I think Hunt and Pacheco, they're going to ease Pacheco back in. So they're both going to kind of cancel each other out fantasy-wise. But both these guys are really good running backs, and I'm happy Kareem Hunt's actually getting like a real shot again in the NFL. Like the Chiefs picked him up off the street, like we just said, and he has been so productive, dude. I don't know how long he's going to be doing this, but it's a really good story for sure. So Kareem Hunt, start of the week, ride him till he dies, baby.
Yeah, and it kind of verifies what we thought over the offseason of like Pacheco's involvement in this offense on how good he could have been.
Yeah.
Like, and it excites you for next year where like you see that Kansas City can just plug in a back and they're getting the full workload. So Pacheco could be looking at a highly drafted position next year because he was great when he was in this season so far.
He was so good.
But I would expect them also to lean towards a split. But shout out Kareem Hunt. He's been incredible since
Pacheco
coming back.
He broke his leg. Like, he's not going to be coming back ready to like get the full carry load. So I expect Kareem Hunt favored carry load at least the first week Pacheco's back. I really think it's going to be Kareem Hunt getting more than Pacheco. The second week Pacheco's back, I expect it to be a little bit more in Pacheco's favor. And then it's going to be kind of like that the rest of the season. I don't think it's going to go fully Pacheco until the playoffs. The real playoffs, not fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, they're going to ramp up Pacheco for the actual NFL playoffs, and he's been an absolute stud in the playoffs in his career. So save him for when it matters. Sure. Kansas City's been great at doing like load management, stuff like that as an organization. Who do you got at wide receiver?
My wide receiver, let me quick check our doc because I honestly forget already. It's Calvin Ridley of the Tennessee Titans. He is a man that started off extremely slow and most likely hit waiver wires, to be honest. But his stretch in the last 2 weeks, I think it's been last 2 of the 3 weeks, he's been a wide receiver, top 5. Yeah, it's been 2 really great performances, and New England it was 5 for 73, but he had 8 targets. It's still a really good game. But they're playing Minnesota, dude. And again, just like Baltimore, you can't run. So the run game with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, it's really going to be not irrelevant, to be honest, this week, to where they're going to be pass heavy, and they're probably going to be down, to be honest, because they're playing a way better team in Minnesota. So Will Levis is going to go out here. He's going to be slinging the rock, and it's all going to Calvin Ridley's way. So expect close to 10 targets. Hopefully he brings in 5, 6, 7 of them for 70, 80 yards. Oh, if we can get a touchdown with Calvin Ridley, dude, we'll be glorious. So go out there, start Calvin Ridley with for sure confidence. I expect him to have a pretty good double-digit week here versus Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota pass funnel should be able to work. We'll see how Will Levis handles the pressure that Brian Flores brings, though. That could be Calvin Ridley's flaw, is Will Levis just constantly not being able to see pressure in the sack. But on paper, though, he should be perfectly great. He's been incredible. His target share is almost 35% since Hopkins has been
I
traded.
think that's going to be the thing, even with the pressure. I'm not going out here and saying start Will Levis. Will Levis can have a horrendous game here, but
he's got a great stretch coming up though.
He does for sure. Ridley has all green. Will Levis is almost the same. No, I'm saying Will Levis is almost the same. So I wouldn't start Will Levis, but I'm happily starting Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. I am going to stack my start of the week with my quarterback, and I'm going with Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos. Sutton has been great here recently, and we've been hyping him up as a trade for candidate because, you know, he's not somebody that's probably going to cost you a ton, but he's been doing great here for Denver, bringing in the deep passes, and look what MVS just did to this Falcons defense. He tore them apart. And Courtland Sutton, he's a big play dude. You know, almost 10 targets in 3 straight weeks, 11, 10, 9 last 3 weeks, 100 yards in 2 of those 3 games. He has been on an absolute heater. He is that dude in Denver. You know, we were all worried after he put up that 0 against the Saints, like, oh, are they going to phase Courtland Sutton out? Sean Payton says he wants to get the young guys in. Since that, Courtland Sutton has been a top wide receiver. I expect that to continue. He's wide receiver 16 in full PPR on the year.
Yeah, he's having a great season. Very slept on in fantasy leagues this year. You and I have talked about go getting him. You brought up the MVS thing, dude. Like, Courtland Sutton is 100 times more of the receiver than MVS is. Like, Courtland Sutton can run real routes, but he's also a really good deep threat. He can track the ball high. I expect Courtland Sutton to have a phenomenal game here this week. The last couple weeks, he has just been on a tear. I happened to play him in our home league last week, and I was not happy about it. I'm like, oh, this guy is Courtland Sutton. I'm not thrilled about it. And that's not a thing you often say, like, oh, I'm worried about Courtland Sutton. Nah, dog, no. If I'm playing Courtland Sutton on the other side, I'm worried, dog. That guy's going to put up 15 to 25 points and most likely the flex spot because he was drafted not as a receiver, too. He was a flex guy. Yeah. So this team's sitting here with Courtland Sutton in the flex putting up 20 points, and I'm just like, damn. So Courtland Sutton's a real good guy for the rest of the season. Him and Calvin Ridley, I think they're going to have great rest of the season. Not just this week, rest of the season. Both those guys, for sure.
And tight end, round out. I'm going with Jonnu Smith of the Miami Dolphins. They're playing the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are a bottom 5 team against tight ends this season. And Jonnu Smith, he's been pretty good. Like, if you just look at the box score for last week, you're like, oh, you know, he had 4 targets, 3 catches for 45 yards. He was an inch short of a touchdown. He gets that touchdown. We're looking at that performance differently. 3 for 46 and a touchdown. All right, we're cooking. He's not playing a ton of snap shares, but he's been so involved. 6+ targets in 3 of his last 4 games. If the 4 of his last 5 games, if you want to go before the bye. But he's been involved in this offense. Tyreek Hill's banged up. Jalen Waddle's always leaving games hurt. The run game's in shambles. Like, Raheem Mostert's not getting carries. Like, the offense looks broken. But Jonnu Smith has just been reliant for Tua Tagovailoa. He's tight end 16 in full PPR. So it's not like he's having a bad year. He's been a guy you can plug in your lineup. A ton of tight ends on bye this week, or just guys with question marks being like Evan Ingram, Jake Ferguson, guys like that. And I think I would hold Jonnu Smith in the same tier as those guys.
Yeah, dude. Like, I got rid of Ferguson in our home league this week. I was able to upgrade my tight end position, and I just cut Ferguson. I put a message out there. Ferguson for Fab, no one bit. I cut him. You almost got me with the...
I sent you a trade for Jake Ferguson.
It was literally Jake Ferguson and $3 of my Fab for nothing. And I was at work, so I really wasn't even paying attention. And I'm like, oh, Ferguson for $3 Fab, bet. I was an inch away from clicking accept for me trading Jake Ferguson and money to you for absolutely nothing. And you almost got me. I would have been furious.
I would have traded him back to you and gave you your $3.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Accepted it.
Picking start of the week to tight end. Oh, yeah, for sure. Start of the week at tight end's rough, but I'm playing it safer this week. I usually blow it out of the water here with tight end. Doesn't really matter.
Bowers?
Yeah, Brock. No, I'm going David Njoku. They're playing New Orleans. It's a green matchup for him. His 2 green matchups on the season where he's been healthy have been Cincinnati and Baltimore, and he finishes tight end 1 and tight end 7, 23 and 17 in full PPR. I expect something very similar to that this week versus New Orleans, being a very high target game, 8 to 9 targets, 5 to 6 catches, hopefully 70 yards, and then pray that he can get in the end zone and give you on the higher echelon of tight ends. So I expect
they're coming off a bye, so
he's going to be exactly, and he's been playing 80% of snaps the last 3 weeks. So coming off the bye, I expect him to be in there 80, a little bit more than 80 because it's a green matchup, so it's going to be on the upper high. So Njoku should be a for sure lock at tight end this week because tight ends are never a lock, but Njoku's as good as it gets this week. So never fun picking the start of the week for tight end.
That tight end, no, not because we're not going to wimp out and just be like George Kittle start of the week at tight end. You could be confident. I don't care that he's hurt. Yeah. All right, let's dive into these matchups. I honestly
feel bad going to Njoku. Like, obviously, you're starting Njoku, but he only had 7 points his last start, just to reassure you that you can start Njoku with confidence.
Yeah. All right, let's dive into these matchups. We're starting with the Green Bay Packers traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Packers are 5.5-point road favorites and over under of 40.5. I'm locked in on Josh Jacobs, like you said, start of the week. Other than that, like I do think like there's the realm where like the Packers offense doesn't put up a ton of points and they just win this game because the Bears are bad. So
Bears also have a really good secondary.
Yeah, I'm weary about starting Jordan Love and Jaden Reed. I'm absolutely not putting Dobbs, Watson, or Wicks in my lineup at all.
Nope.
I'd play Tucker Kraft just because tight end's a little weaker. So if I don't have an option better than him, I'm fine with Tucker Kraft there. You can beat Chicago through the passing game against tight ends or linebackers. Haven't been great.
They're weaker at stopping the tight end, so I agree with the Kraft thing. But if you had to pick Dobbs, Watson, or Wicks to start one of them, who would it be?
Dobbs. He's the best floor play. He's going to get his 5 to 6 targets, but he's just not going to do a ton with them. Like he's super touchdown reliant, but the 3 for 40 that he gets you're going to be fine with that 7-point PPR performance. But I would be trying to move away from any of the options. But a ton of buys this week with relevant players. So Jaden Reed, there's a good chance he's in your lineup. That's fine. Yeah. They make plays for him, and Jordan Love should be fine, but be prepared to possibly be disappointed just because the Packers could win this game 14-3.
Yeah, I expect Reed to finish with like 5 for 60. Nothing special, but if he gets in the end zone, that's where you'd be lucky. But I think Chicago's a really rough matchup through the air, dude. So I love the Josh Jacobs start of the week. Man, but other than that, dude, you're really kind of question marking the rest of the guys here. Reed, you can play if you have to.
Yeah. Jordan Love. Would you start CJ Stroud over him? Stroud's got a great matchup against Dallas. Nico Collins is back. And CJ Stroud, the last time he finished as a QB1 in fantasy was the last time Nico Collins played football.
Yeah, I'm more so looking at it. What happened to Dallas last week? Jalen Hurts killed him. 35 points in our league, 6 points for touchdowns. He obviously has high rushing upside, but I think with Nico back, that really adds it changes the offense. Obviously, Mixon's there. That is what the offense relies on. Mixon, Nico, full fours ahead. I'd go Stroud over Jordan Love this week, just based off matchup.
I agree. I would also go with CJ Stroud.
Cool.
Chicago side, I don't want to play anybody, not even DeAndre Swift. He's starting to turn back into the DeAndre Swift we saw at the beginning of the year.
He's found
the middle ground. Yeah, it's a mess in Chicago. I expect Matt Eberflus, if they lose this game, to be fired. He's definitely not going to be back there next year. There's talks that when and if he does get fired, Cliff Kingsbury is going to be the guy they're going to bring in. Like that's who they want.
Kingsbury.
Yeah.
I mean, they're seeing what he's doing with Jaden Daniels, so I get it.
They interviewed him to come in this year, and he chose to go to Washington.
You can still start Swift in your flex if you guys have to. Like, he's still startable this week, but they're bringing in a new offensive coordinator, so I'm not starting a single receiver.
No.
even Cole Kmet, like I'm kind of out on that too. He's been pretty garbage since the bye.
He was
4-0
and
3.5.
Yeah, he was like the piece that originally like opened this offense up, and then they've just stopped using him.
Yep, I agree. I don't know, but the new coordinator, I'm just gonna let Chicago ride, see how the new coordinator does with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet. But Swift, you can still start it. He's a running back. He's going to get his touches. So with the new coordinator, you're going to see what receiver he's going to be using most. I expect it to either be Rome or DJ Moore. I don't expect it to be Keenan Allen, to be honest. But I wouldn't start a receiver on this team this week.
So Jaden Reed over DJ Moore?
100%.
What about Rome Odunze? Not Romeo Dobbs or DJ Moore.
I was honestly going to bring up that DJ Moore is really close to the Romeo Dobbs line compared to the Jaden Reed line. I would still play DJ Moore over Romeo Dobbs.
I would go Moore. He could break off a big play for a touchdown.
He can have a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah. But I'm not confidently playing any of the Bears offense.
No.
DeAndre Swift, you're probably forced into playing him because bye weeks and running backs.
At this point,
And that's fine. He'll likely get close to his projection, but the receivers, that is a risky game that I do not want to play so close to the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, it's a dice roll. A dice roll for sure. I'm not willing to take that one.
Yeah. All right. The Jacksonville Jaguars
travel to Detroit. Who are you picking?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm taking the Packers. I thought that was obvious.
We really just skipped past that, but definitely the Packers. I agree. The Bears have just been imploding, dude. So, Green Bay.
Jacksonville, the Jaguars, they travel to Detroit to take on the NFC North and NFC Conference leading Detroit Lions. The Lions are favored by how many points, Nick?
10.5.
14. An over-under of 47, and let me tell you, I think they cover.
Yeah, no, they're going to cover.
Mac Jones is playing again.
I was going to ask you if a team can legally go to jail for beating a team so bad, because I think it's about to happen in this game. This game's going to be a fucking bloodbath, dude.
Jacksonville, Mac Jones, like they didn't move the ball at all on Minnesota, and they should have won that game. Sam Darnold played terrible, and the Jaguars, had they had a confident offense, would have beat Minnesota.
Yeah, you guys are lucky. You have a great defense.
Yeah, you're playing Detroit, really good defense. Yeah, their secondary is a bit shaky, but hey, so is Minnesota's.
Because you have to pass first. I'm like you're always down for the most part.
So like Tank Bigsby's hurt, so it might be Trevor Etienne all alone. But I'd probably play 40 running backs before even considering putting Etienne into my lineup.
Etienne, I agree. Yeah, Bigsby hasn't practiced at all, and it's an ankle injury, so he's most likely going to be sidelined, dude. Etienne's only going to be valuable in full PPR. If it's not full PPR, you need to not start.
I don't even think he will. I don't think Mac Jones isn't Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's going to look at for him.
I agree. It's more so just the blitz is going to be coming, and you have to get the ball as fast out of your hands as possible. And Etienne's the closest guy to you.
Like Evan Ingram, you're looking. He's probably going to get like 10 points full PPR, and I'd rather take a shot on Jonnu Smith than him on a touchdown, because like Evan Ingram's not going to score, and then Brian Thomas Jr. he's like a real low end flex play, because like you got to hope that they take a shot. Like Brian Thomas Jr. or DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, no.
DJ Moore,
no.
No, I agree.
No. Yeah,
I agree.
And
I love Brian Thomas Jr., but as a volatile game you're going to be playing, like
I still think I'm leaning Ingram over Jonnu, but DJ Moore over BTJ.
Yeah.
I think Ingram has a safer floor than Jonnu.
Yeah, but I think there's also a better chance that Evan Ingram gooses compared to Jonnu Smith. I don't think either of them goose, but I just think there's a run where the Jacksonville offense just gets nothing going.
I think Ingram's gonna have very similar. I think he's gonna have the Ingram special, dude. We brought it up last week. The fucking 6 for 40. The Evan Ingram special. I think we're gonna get a nice heavy dose of the Evan Ingram special this week.
I'd rather play the upside on Jonnu in a more explosive offense. I'm gonna trust the quarterback.
Oh, man, see, now this is where we've always differed, though. I'm a real big safe floor guy, especially with the onesie position. I'll take Ingram.
Yeah. Detroit, though, you're playing everybody. I think this is a game everybody eats. Sam Laporta's hurt, so keep an eye on that. So he might not play. So Jameson Williams,
he's been sidelined at practice, but it's starting to seem like he might actually play. I don't think he should, though. He's not needed.
No, he's not needed here. And even if he does play, I think he's going to be a decoy. I wouldn't be putting Sam Laporta in my lineup. I'd be trying to find a way.
Half of Detroit's team might as well just not even play. Like, we can start some backups here, guys. We can take a rest game. Jacksonville's nothing.
Yeah.
I get that they played, quote for quote, decent versus you guys. You guys were just way off. And it showed that you guys played horrendous and you still beat them. Like, it was bad. Jacksonville's a bad team.
There's a chance Detroit's up 35-0 at halftime, and they're just smooth sailing the rest of the way, resting their starters. But you're locking all your Lions. Amon-Ra, Jameson Williams, Montgomery, and Gibbs. Jared Goff's going to play this week as well. Yeah, I think Detroit obliterates them. The over-under is 47. Detroit might win 47-0.
There is a really good chance that Detroit has drops a 40 bomb this week. Yeah. If I had to pick a team this week to do it, it would definitely be Detroit.
Yeah. I'm taking the Lions, obviously.
100%.
Yeah. All right, let's move to a better game here. Baltimore, the Ravens, travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers.
Hell yeah, dude.
The Ravens are a 3.5-point road favorite. An over-under of 48.5 points. Mm-hmm. Ravens, you brought it up, your start of the week, Russell Wilson. Pass funnel. Look what Jamar Chase did against them on Thursday. Look what Joe Burrow did to them on Thursday. That gives you a ton of confidence and hope in Russell Wilson and George Pickens. Now, if George Pickens wasn't there, I'd be way less confident in Russell Wilson because it's Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin, and Mike Williams. So, like, Baltimore, sure, you could pass on him, but having that elite superstar like George Pickens, it just gives Pittsburgh's offense great upside. Najee Harris, he's been banged up. He's going to play. Jaylen Warren's going to play, but I would shy away from Najee. Yeah, I would
specifically say Najee for sure.
Yeah, Warren outscores him just from the past game.
Yeah,
I'm not going to fuck around with Freiermuth, but
nah.
But yeah, George Pickens and Russell Wilson are great plays. And then Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, obviously, you're not going to bench Lamar. Mark Andrews is a good play because it looks like Isaiah Likely's not going to play again. So that's a big boost for Mark Andrews. He's on a touchdown heater. He's been scoring every week.
He's been so hot, dude, yeah.
It's really then the question, Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman, Deontay Johnson, like, you willing to put any of them in your lineup?
I would say Zay's a lock. You have to start Zay. I think he's in line for a big game just because he didn't go off for Cincinnati last week.
Yeah, you don't want the Zay Flowers boom games on your bench.
Yeah, I would be cool with Flowers. Bateman, I'm leaning towards no, but man, he's been all right this year. He's been a nice little surprise, but I would bench Bateman this week.
Would you play Bateman over Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yes.
What about DJ Moore?
Yes. So no, I guess I'm starting. Yeah, I would start Bateman over all those guys. Did you see the Mike Williams tweet?
No.
He scored that touchdown.
Take a shot at Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
Hey, my man.
He hashtagged the end of the tweet with hashtag red line. And that's that Aaron Rodgers in that press conference. Mike Williams didn't go to the red line, right? He overshot his, and he ended his tweet with hashtag red line. And someone brought it up to Aaron Rodgers in a press conference. They're like, oh, how do you feel about Mike Williams taking a shot? And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And someone explained it to him, and he just laughed. He goes, oh, that's awesome, dude. I love Mike. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? You didn't love Mike? You didn't love Mike when he was on your team, dude.
Good for him. I would expect Aaron Rodgers to get butthurt about that, but good for him for taking that like a good. So like, all right, fuck me, yeah.
No, that's funny. Okay.
So why weren't you playing like? Yeah, Rodgers. I was surprised you didn't hit it with. Why weren't you playing like that when you were here?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm surprised you know what a red line is, Mike Williams.
Like, in our home league, I was in a weird boat where like I had one spot open. This is before I acquired Alvin Kamara, and my options were T. Higgins and Amari Cooper, both questionable. And I'm like, oh my god, if one of these guys doesn't play, I gotta pick up a guy off the market. And like, I was like, I might take the shot on Mike Williams and just hope for the big touchdown play.
I honestly think he's a decent flex start for the rest of the year if he's going to be doing what he did his first week. He had 8 catch for a touchdown. Like Mike Williams is a huge touchdown receiver,
and
that's how he's been his whole career.
Acclimated in Pittsburgh, like
and
the targets are going to go up, the playing
time's
going to go up. Yeah,
like Cortland Sutton last year had 14 touchdowns with Russ. I think Mike Williams can go out here and have a bunch of touchdowns the remainder of the season. It's not going to be Cortland Sutton levels. He's not going to have 7-8 catches a game, but Mike Williams can easily finish with 4 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown, and be fantasy relevant for the rest of the year if it goes the right way.
Shoot, he can have 1 catch for 80 yards and a touchdown.
100%. Mike Williams is a really big play kind of guy.
Would you play Bateman over Mike Williams though?
Yes,
I would.
I would
just because
of
established. He's been established, but Mike Williams is a guy to keep an eye on the waivers, or if you're a team who's kind of just sold out for the year and you just need guys to plug in and fill out your roster, if Mike Williams is out there, I think he's a good stash up.
Yeah, if you're looking the play spoiler, Mike Williams can go out here and have a huge performance any week. Like he's a lesser version of George Pickens. Like George Pickens can finish with 2 catches, 120 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and we'd be like, "Oh, that's a George Pickens game." But Mike Williams can have that same stat line at the end of the day. So
and then Deontay Johnson revenge game, you in?
No,
me either.
No, I'm not.
Nah, me.
Unfortunately, I'm not.
All right, then who wins this football game?
Baltimore.
I agree. Baltimore wins.
Yeah, that one's upsetting. I never really liked Pittsburgh this much. This is weird for this guy. I don't know what's going on here. I'm really on Pittsburgh this year.
Is it George Pickens? Because you love that guy.
I do love George Pickens. I also I don't mind Najee. And I think it comes down to I was really pulling for Russell Wilson this whole offseason.
Maybe.
And now that he's got the job,
I was kind of really into Pittsburgh when Justin Fields was in. I was like, validation does a lot for you. I need Trey Lance to come in and cook in Dallas, baby. I need that serotonin boost.
Good God, dude. You fucking feel like you're on drugs for 2 months. The whole Pittsburgh thing's weird, dude. Russ is cooking, dude. I'm loving it. I'm on cloud 9 here with Russ, dude.
It's going to be a good game. Baltimore and Pittsburgh rarely disappoints. All right, Minnesota travels to Tennessee to take on the Titans. The Vikings are 6-point road favorites, an over-under of 39.5.
Is that how many sacks you guys are going to have? 39.5?
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think the Vikings cover. I don't think the Vikings cover. I think they win. But Sam Darnold has 6.
Nah, you'll win by a tutty.
Sam Darnold has not looked good.
I agree.
Lately. Tennessee's defense is legit. This ain't Jacksonville's defense. So if Sam Darnold plays like he did last week, the Vikings lose this game.
Last week for sure, but the game versus Indy, he was 28 of 34 for 290 and 3 tutties. He had 2 turnovers. I expect that stat line. I think he's going to make a couple turnovers, but at the end of the day, he's still going to have close to 300 yards, possibly 3 tutties, especially with Hawkinson back now, dude. Hawkinson opens up your whole passing dynamic. He's what you guys were missing. Jordan Addison can't be an 8 target, 8 reception kind of guy. Hawkinson can easily come in here and give Sam Darnold that safety blanket with Jefferson. I'm really expecting a nice turnaround game here for you guys.
Aaron Jones is questionable, but he says he's going to be out there.
He's going to play. He's a dog.
So he'll be fine, but tough sledding for him, running into Jeffrey Simmons and T'Vondre Sweat.
I know we're not big advocates for handcuffs. If you're riding Aaron Jones into the playoffs, are you picking up Cam Akers?
No, because I don't think Cam Akers is going to be any sort of relevant. Like, I don't think he's got enough juice to care. Like, when he's been out there for Aaron Jones, he hasn't looked good.
So you don't look at him as like a...
I don't see him in the same boat as Trey Benson or Blake Corum or Braylon Allen.
There's another guy Tyler Algier was the guy I was really thinking of.
Yeah, or I'd rather stash Jalen Warren.
Okay.
Like, I'd rather stash Tyjae Spears too on the opposite side.
Oh, definitely. I would rather Spears over Akers. Spears at least plays more when the starters not hurt. So like Pollard and Spears.
I think if Aaron Jones misses time, I think we'll do a true split, and you'll see Ty Chandler back in there in passing situations, and Cam Akers will do run more, and they'll essentially cancel each other out and just be completely irrelevant for fantasy. I think if anything, it might open up Jordan Addison, but who knows with him?
Yeah, who knows? I don't think Darnold is going to be able to get Addison going. I think that's the problem here. Yeah. I really don't think it's an Addison thing, and it's not a Darnold thing either. It's just the connection. It's not their
play
vibe.
style's different. We'll see when JJ McCarthy's back there next year.
I seen he had a second surgery on swelling, and it went good,
so that can't. Like, the report was wrong. He actually just got an injection in his knee, which is completely normal in the healing process.
False reports.
A bunch of stuff. It came out, and then somebody just came out. It was like, no second surgery was done. He just got an injection, which is just part of the rehab process.
Good.
He's going to be completely fine. I also saw some bogus report that like he put on like 40 pounds and he's just looking incredibly out of weight because he can't rehab. And I'm just like, I'm not worried.
What is he, fucking Eddie Lacy out here?
Yeah, I was worried when the report came out of second surgery. I'm like, oh my God, I can't get nice things as a Vikings fan. But it was just an injection, which is normal in the healing process for the injury he had, and he's on.
Good.
Kevin O'Connell's not worried. He's on pace for next season.
Cool.
But T.J. Hockenson is a great play this week and going forward. Like, if you manage to stash him all season, his run here throughout the rest of the season is great for tight ends.
Or if you were able to pick him up before the trade deadline.
Yeah, I saw you got him. I wasn't looking to target tight ends in home league. I have Trey McBride, who's been phenomenal. Just can't score a fucking touchdown.
Yeah, I was sitting nice with Cade Otton, and I still have Cade Otton. I'm very high on Cade Otton, but Hawkinson's just a huge upgrade, dude. Like, we got to remember how good Hawkinson was last year and the year before. He was winning people leagues from the tight end position, and I'm almost looking at it as he was last year. Like, he's this year's David Njoku. I went out last year and I got Njoku at the trade deadline, and he carried me through the playoffs. He was so helpful. I'm really hoping Hawkins is able to come in here and get 10 targets a game, 6 to 8 catches, and really just be a really solid tight end for me here going forward. And his schedule is good. I'm really high on Hawkinson for the rest of the year.
He's a top 5 tight end rest of the season.
Yeah, the trade I had to make the call is the guy had Andrews and Hawkinson. Shout out Merck. I also got Bijan in this trade. So I was like, Bijan, and do I want Andrews, who's touchdown dependent, or do I want Hawkinson, who's a surefire target guy? And I took the targets because the touchdowns are going to come at some point for Hawkinson. I don't want to go reliable on touchdowns for Andrews. If the touchdown's not there, he's only looking at like 7-8 points. Where Hawkinson's going to have that.
He's a better version of Evan Ingram.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay, I see that. There's no Evan Ingram specials here for Hawkinson, that's for sure. Though.
But he's going to get peppered with targets and receptions, and he's just the safety blanket for the Minnesota offense. Jefferson, you're going to play him.
Oh, can you not?
Yeah.
Is there an option?
Addison, I'm not playing him. Aaron Jones, temper expectations with the injury and just how good Tennessee's front is. Mm-hmm. And then Tennessee, I think it's Calvin Ridley, and that's really it. I'd be trying to find ways out of starting Tony Pollard. I know that's probably hard to do this week with bye weeks, but I don't think Tony Pollard's in for a big game, especially now with Tyjae Spears back. I think we see more of what Tennessee was telling us during the offseason, that this is a true split backfield. Both guys are getting healthy.
I agree.
So I expect a split. I think Tyjae Spears might outscore Tony Pollard this week just because Minnesota, you got to pass to the running backs to be able to get any sort of run game working.
It's the Pittsburgh situation where we have Jalen Warren outscoring Najee. I agree. I think Spears has a chance to outscore Pollard here. The Tennessee, though, I'm not really looking to start anyone except Calvin Ridley. Yeah, to be honest, and he's my start of the week. So I'm all in on Calvin Ridley with the pass funnel on Minnesota. But the rest of Tennessee, though, it's huge question marks.
I'm going Minnesota, but I don't think they cover.
For sure. I'll take Minnesota, and I think they do cover. You guys win by a touchdown.
The Las Vegas Raiders travel to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Miami is a 7-point home favorite and over under of 44. Reports came out that Desmond Ridder was going to play, and then Antonio Pierce came out and said it's going to be Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, I don't know if he heard all the backlash from why the fuck are you letting Desmond Ridder start for your team?
You're trying to get Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. That's what they're doing.
I get it, but to be honest, I kind of fuck with Desmond Ridder. He was a great college quarterback in Cincinnati. I don't think he's going to go out here and do wonders, but he's just as good as Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Yeah. Desmond Ridder's on par with these guys. Desmond Ridder's played a lot of football in his career. He's a very smart man. He knows how to lead a team here. Like,
yep, I would let Ritter play, and then when O'Connell comes back, I would make the switch back to O'Connell if Ritter's not playing good. Like, we know what Gardner Minshew is. Like, he's not
just
a friend.
Play all 3 of them.
Yeah. And then whoever's the hot hand plays the fourth quarter.
No, I mean at the same time. Line all 3 up in the backfield.
Oh my God.
And then you don't know who's getting the ball. It's a random fucking hike each time.
So we're just taking out Alexander Madison and Zamir White.
Yes.
They're just not part of this offense anymore.
Now we're talking.
But then you have no weapons once the ball's hiked to the quarterback. Gardner Minshew going to go out there and run routes?
They got receivers. I mean, do they have weapons to begin with?
But your Jacoby Myers has been good. Brock Bowers is great.
They have those 2 guys. You are correct.
That's it. So
that's
those
all
guys.
you need.
But you're taking coverage away. No one's going to cover the quarterbacks.
Then they're going to be open.
3 guys are covering.
Then they're going to be open for catches.
So you're throwing the ball to Gardner Minshew.
You have to. Well, okay, he's a bum. In this offense, they could have Danny Jones. Trade for Danny Jones and then run the 3 quarterback system with that. It would work. Vegas is a clown show.
Won't work.
Get Pierce fired, and I'm a big Antonio Pierce fan. I love that guy, but I don't know if he knows how to run an organization, dude.
You're starting Brock Bowers. Locked in. Jacoby Myers,
flexible.
Is he flex consideration? Would you play him or Brian Thomas Jr.?
Jacoby Myers.
Okay. What about DJ Moore?
Jacoby Myers.
All right.
He played in 97% of snaps, dude, for Cincinnati.
He does play a ton. Yeah. But Cincinnati, anybody could pass on Cincinnati. I think I would lean Moore and even Thomas over Myers.
You can't pass on Kansas City. And he went out here and had 6 for 52 and a tutty on Kansas City.
But what did Brock Bowers do against Kansas City?
Nothing.
See, you got to remember, Kansas City finds one guy.
5 for 58. He had 10.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah,
he's better than Mark Andrews. What are we talking about? Yeah. Hitting goose.
Yeah. So I would hold him in the same boat. I would start BTJ and DJ Moore over Jacoby Myers.
I'd lean Myers.
What about the running back? Alexander Madison?
No.
Okay.
He's been bad lately.
Alexander Madison or Trevor Etienne?
Etienne.
Okay.
We're trying to find an Etienne line now?
Yeah. What about Tony Pollard? Would you have started Pollard or Spears over Etienne? I'd start both of them.
I'd start both of them.
Okay.
Like, Alexander Madison might not even be the starter anymore, dude. Like, he played in 39% of snaps. And
so Zamir White?
He only played in 12.
They
don't have a starting running back, dude. I'm not starting any of these guys. They're all dog shit.
I agree. I don't want to play any Raiders running back.
Amir Abdullah played in almost 50% of snaps for Cincinnati. He was legitimately per snap
pass
wise,
catcher.
Yeah, their number 1 back.
I don't want to roster that guy though.
No, I don't want to roster any of these guys. You don't need Madison on your team. Pick up someone else. Go pick up a high upside guy.
I'd rather stash a defense than waste a roster spot on Alexander Madison.
100%. If you're playing for the playoffs, Madison, you can't play him in the playoffs. So go pick up a defense for the playoffs.
It's Myers and Bowers, and that's it from Vegas. Miami defense is a great play.
Yeah.
Tua is fine, but I would try going elsewhere. I really don't want to play Tua. Tyreek Hill and Waddle,
you can play them both.
So many questions. Yeah. Achane, I'm not playing Mostert.
I'm not playing Mostert. You can't.
I think if game plan matches what they did Monday, I think you can cut Raheem Mostert. If he comes out and only has 3 or 4 targets and no carries again, I think it's time to move on from him. And then
he only played in 15% of snaps that week.
And Mike McDaniel just said that was part of the game plan. That worries me.
Jalen Wright played in 17% of snaps. He played in more percent than Mostert.
And he was not efficient. He was 5 for -3.
He was bad. So you got to watch Mostert. You can't start him, though. You got to pull him from your lineups. And then, again, if he's playing in 15 to 20% of snaps, he's not rosterable.
Yeah.
You got to bite the bullet.
Jonnu, my start of the week, I'm very comfortable playing him. I have him as a low-end tight end 1 this week. You're not going to bench Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. And then Achane as well. Do you play Tua? Or are you trying? Where would you say the Tua line is? Would you play Jordan Love in a real tough matchup, or would you go Tua in a matchup where he should do well?
Give me the upside on Tua. I'm really worried about Green Bay just scoring 5 points, a safety and a field goal. You don't even need a touchdown to beat the Bears, dude. What are we talking about here?
I would go Love. What about like Matt Stafford? He's going to be the next game we talk about. Would you start Tua over him? I agree. I don't want anything to do with Matt Stafford right now. Miami wins this game?
Yeah, I'm giving it to Miami.
Yeah. All right. The Rams, as mentioned, next matchup, they travel to New England to take on the Patriots. The Rams are 4.5-point road favorites and over under a 43.5. Matt Stafford has not looked good at all. And he's not been great on the road. But like, even with him not looking good, Puka and Cooper Kupp have been fine for fantasy. Like, he's not hurting them. He's just not scoring touchdowns, and Kyron's Kyron. You're keeping him locked in your lineup. He's been great this year, despite not so great games the last 2 weeks. But
yeah, they better get that guy back in the end zone, dude. I'm tired of this bullshit as a Kyron owner. Get that man back in the end zone. We will not stand for this injustice.
So you're starting Kyron, you're starting Puka Nacua, you're starting Cooper Kupp. You messing around with Demarcus Robinson?
No, I'm not.
Me either.
He had a rough week, 3 points versus Miami. I guess it's a rough matchup, but the 1 for 23, dude, it's rough. And we can't forget, like, Tyler Johnson's used in this offense. Like,
yeah,
he's also out there, so I'm out on the Robinson, but you can really start Puka and Cooper Kupp with confidence.
The Rams are easy. You're starting Kupp, you're starting Nacua, you're starting Kyron.
Yeah.
I don't think Matt Stafford's a guy to be worth rostering. I would say he's like a under 20 tight end. Like, he's not even a QB2 quarterback. He's not even a QB2 in super flex leagues in my eyes at this point.
No, he is. He had a really good game versus Minnesota and Seattle. Like, he put up 4 touchdowns versus you guys, and then he put up 302 versus Seattle, and then had a rough week versus Miami. He did shit the bed versus Vegas. I'll give you that 100%. He looked horrendous. But, like, New England, it's a rough matchup. Philly's a rough matchup. But you got New Orleans, and you got the Jets coming up in the playoff run.
I'm only playing Matt Stafford if he's inside. I don't want him outside.
That's a fair
take.
There
it is. Matt Stafford, controlled environment guy. They're outside in New England. No, thank you. I'd rather play Drake May.
Well, you got to look at his career, too. He played 9 years in Detroit Dome, and then he college ball at Georgia. Beautiful. And then
Dome. But it's Dome. They play in a Dome.
Okay, and then he goes to the Rams. Beautiful, and it's a dome, is it not? Or is it open?
No, it's closed.
I think it's a retractable
It's
roof.
like semi-closed, yeah.
So, yeah, he's always played in nicer domed environments. He doesn't have to worry about weather. So, yeah, no, I like the outdoor take for my boy, Matty Stafford.
Would you play Drake May over him in a super flex?
No.
I also probably wouldn't. I kind of overreacted there, but I would say they're close. They're close.
They're close. I'll give you that.
They're close. They're closer than people want to admit. Yeah. New England, Ramondre, okay.
Yeah, I guess.
Hunter Henry's hurt, so he might not play. So now you got to figure out. You can fuck around with Pop Douglas. I brought up Keyshawn Boutte, bringing up when we did our prospect spotlight for LSU receivers.
Mm-hmm.
He played in like 90% of snaps last week. I think if I had to play a New England weapon, if Hunter Henry's not out there, I would lean Boutte over Pop Douglas.
No, probably not over Pop. Boutte's played since week 6 in 80% of snaps or more. It's been 83, 82, 96, 97.
Since Drake May came in.
And he's only broke 8 points twice. Last week and in week 6. So I would still lean towards Pop Douglas, but I'm not starting anyone on this team. And even, I'm starting Ramondre, but he's a flex option. I'm not putting him as an RB2 this week.
But hey, New England, let Javon Baker and Jalen Polk play.
I agree. You're not going anywhere.
Jalen Polk's been out there for a little bit. Let Javon Baker loose, baby.
I agree. A huge Javon Baker guy. We loved him in the scouting process. Just see what he has, dude. Like, he was a 4th-round pick, right? They drafted him the 4th.
Yeah.
Pull the trigger.
I just had around grade on him.
Yeah, 100%. He was very high on my receiver list. Drake May's been decently good. Get Jalen Polk more involved. Like, he hasn't looked ideal, but just get him more involved.
Touchdown last week.
Yeah.
One catch, 1 yard, and a touchdown. The Mike Evans classic.
Yeah, so Ramondre's going to be rough too, dude.
Yeah.
New England.
If Hunter Henry plays, are you putting him in, or would you rather roll with Jonnu Smith.
God, give me Jonnu.
Okay. I thought you would go Henry. Better floor.
It's not. He had 2 points last week.
I think last week was an outlier.
I mean, I guess he does have a safer floor, but give me Jonnu. I don't think his ceiling's much higher than, or I don't think his floor is much higher than Jonnu's, to be honest. Do I think Evan Ingrams is? Fuck the Rams.
Rams.
Switch it up.
No, I pulled my Patriots win last week, and I'm
getting frisky with it.
Yeah, I don't think I could get that frisky where I can just pick them again.
It's 2 weeks in a row. Call 2 dubs.
Yeah, no, because that's when they get obliterated.
Yeah.
And I put too much faith in my love for Drake May. I think the Rams win, but I think it's going to be an ugly game. It wouldn't surprise me if the Rams don't cover the 4.5 and they win by 2. 4.5 is a tough line to not cover.
As the owner of Kyren and Cooper Kupp in our home league and in multiple leagues, I just have these guys in a bunch. One league, I have Puka and Cooper Kupp in one league. I have both of them. The Rams need to go off, dude, for my sanity.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they go off, but I think they win the game.
They don't need to go off. Just give me some touchdowns to Puka and Cooper and Kyren. Just 3 touchdowns. We need 21 points. Yeah. 3 touchdowns to the 3 main guys is all we need every week for the rest of the season. It's not too much to ask.
The Indianapolis Colts travel to New York to take on the Jets. The Jets are 4-point home favorites and over under a 43.5 points. You hear Nick sigh because he's back. Anthony Richardson is the starting quarterback for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
according to Shane
how that
Steichen.
Works. Just like Joe Flacco was the starting quarterback for the rest of the season.
Well, but then he changed it to until I say otherwise.
Who lets that guy
he
talk?
Said otherwise.
Does this guy not have any type of media training?
Well,
shut up, dude.
So Jared Mayo doesn't either.
No, that is true. That is very true.
I like Shane Steichen. I think Shane Steichen's a really good coach. I thought he was going to be a transition to be a really good head coach, but maybe he's entering that Arthur Smith territory where he's just a really good offensive coordinator, and he might not be able to get the grasp of head coach. And hey, that happens.
Yeah, man. Look at Arthur Smith right now in Pittsburgh, dude. They're cooking, dude, and he's a great coordinator. He's just not a head coach.
Yeah, so Shane Steichen, he might be on the hot seat, and Joe Flacco hasn't looked great. I think the clock has finally struck on Father Time. I think Joe Flacco might be cooked. And
that's such a dirty thing to do to Joe Flacco. Though, he literally played Minnesota and Buffalo.
I know, but
it's almost like they purposely benched Anthony Richardson for the 2 hardest defenses, and they stuck Flacco to the wolves because they knew
punished him.
They knew Anthony Richardson would be horrendous in these 2 games.
They punished him for 2 games because he walked off, called himself out, checked himself out of the game, put Joe Flacco in. And let me tell you, Joe Flacco, he's going to tell you that he wants Anthony Richardson playing football. He wants him on the field.
Yeah.
And the Colts, to me, are done. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I know they're a game out of the playoff run, but I don't think it's a playoff roster. At this point, you just let Anthony Richardson out there and just develop maybe and just take his licks. I
don't know how quietly I can say this, but I agree. Yeah, you got to let him play. It's going to be disgusting because I'm an owner of Josh Downs in so many leagues. But he
kills the fantasy value of the wide receivers.
Every single person on this team except Jonathan Taylor now has been obliterated from fantasy superstardom. They're going to be super shoddy for the rest of the year. Josh Downs, in my eyes, is still the most valuable out of the receiving crew.
I agree.
But man, oh man, God, it's disgusting. Anthony Richardson did come out and he had a really good quote. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I heard Pat McAfee talk about it today. And it sounds like it's not like he learned his lesson. He knows what he needs to do. He knows
it was
what
the
responsibility, and it is. This can be taken away from you in a snap. You're not guaranteed to be the starter because you're the 4th pick of the draft, Anthony Richardson. And now it shows. You need to go in there and you need to bust your ass. This is your opportunity, and this is coming from me. Do not let go of this opportunity again. You can be benched in a blink of an eye. Anything can be taken away from you. you need to go out here and you need to show the Indianapolis Colts, you need to show the ownership, the fan base, why you were the 4th pick, and you need to prove to all of us that you are the future of the Colts.
Yeah,
there's a lot riding on this dude.
He's playing for Shane Steichen's job as 100%.
Well.
Because if he comes out and catches fire and the Colts go on a run, Shane Steichen's not getting fired.
Yeah. Very, very true.
And then the Jets, they're a dumpster fire of their own right. We make jokes about it all week, all year.
Horrendous.
Colts defense is really bad though. So Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, great plays. Put him in your lineup. Breece Hall, you're not benching him.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a stream guy. I personally wouldn't, but I would play him over Matt Stafford.
Oh man. Yeah, probably. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I would hold him in the same boat as Tua.
I would go Tua, but I would have him pretty close.
Yeah. And then like you messing around with Braylon Allen, or is he still more just keep on your bench?
No, he's a bench guy.
What about Tyler Conklin?
If need be. I'm not saying go out here and go get him or start him or anything.
He was outproduced by the backup tight end last week.
I was just saying he shit the bed the last 2 weeks, but he does usually decently in green matchups. So you just have to hope for that. But there are more than 12 tight ends that I would start over him. So this is only deep leagues that you're starting.
I would rather take the shot on Taysom Hill than Tyler Conklin.
Yeah, the lack of weapons in New Orleans, I would lean Taysom Hill.
Yeah. Yeah, Taysom Hill had an 80-yard touchdown taken away from him
that is true.
Sunday.
Yeah,
so
I'm cool with the big 3 weapons though.
Yeah,
Wilson, Adams, and Hall.
You gonna mess around and play Anthony Richardson? Say you have him in Dynasty?
No,
I do.
Is that a personal question you're asking here, TJ?
No. I have Jaden Daniels, so I'm not messing around and playing Anthony Richardson. But there's a world where you might have to. Like if I didn't have Jaden Daniels, I have Bo Nix, so I wouldn't play him.
Exactly.
He'd be the third quarterback on my roster.
No.
But I think he's a guy to potentially stash. Like, again, if you're playing spoiler in your league, stash Anthony Richardson. He could have a big upside 40-point game and make you beat one of the top teams and hurt them in the playoffs.
That is true. They have the Jets, the Detroit, New England, by Denver, Tennessee. That's
tough sledding.
With the bye,
that's
a rough 5-week stretch. You got Detroit, New England, by Denver, Tennessee, and then you're blessed with the Giants. So, but that rough stretch of 5 games, I don't want him on my roster.
Yeah. Okay. Who wins this football game?
The Jets.
I'm going with the Colts. Anthony Richardson, I think gets it done.
I will not pick Anthony Richardson.
Gets it done, baby. Our first different. All right, the Cleveland Browns travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. The Browns are 1-point road favorites, over under 44.5 points. I think for Cleveland to win this game, they got to sort of balance out the offense. They're not going to be winning games with Jameis throwing the ball 50 times. Yeah, I get it. They did it against Baltimore. But then look what happened when they put the Chargers.
They had to come back versus Baltimore, though. That's the problem. They were down so heavily.
I think Nick Chubb's in play this week. I think this could be the coming out for Nick Chubb. Great matchup. I think they need to get him going to win this football game.
It is coming off the bye too. It was a week to sit and fully get healthy.
There's a ton of backs on bye, so chances are like James Conner, you don't have him available. Chuba Hubbard. Those are the only 2 teams I know off the top of my head that have a bye week. The Rachaad White and Bucky Irving on bye. Like those are all running backs. Chances are like you have Nick Chubb. If you have one of those guys, I think you could comfortably play Nick Chubb. I almost made Nick Chubb my start of the week.
Yeah, the more you're talking about it is, I'm not going to confidently start him, but you can put him in your lineup this week. Coming off the bye, it's a great matchup. I think they're going to be looking to get time of possession on their side of the ball here.
Yeah, I think Jerome Ford could even be in play if you're real desperate.
I don't like that. Yeah, I really don't like that. I'll give you Nick Chubb. I don't like Jerome Ford. You can't get me with that one.
Jameis Winston, you willing to play him at all?
Nope.
I'm not.
Nope.
I think Cedric Tillman's a good play. I'd be putting him in my lineup. He's a good flex guy. Like I would start Tillman over a handful of the guys we talked about, like the line guys, BTJ, DJ Moore. I'm playing Cedric Tillman over both those guys. He's just been
so good the last 3 weeks, and then coming off the bye, I really hope it just continues for him, dude.
Yep. And then Njoku, he's a lock.
Starting.
And then the Saints, Alvin Kamara. in.
Locked. Yep.
Yeah, and then Taysom Hill, if you really need a tight end, you need a big upside guy. Like if you're in a close matchup, and like the tight ends available to you are, Pat Fryermuth, like floor guys, I'd rather go upside and take the shot on Taysom Hill.
I agree.
I'm not fucking around with MVS. I'm not fucking around with any of the other guys. No. Do it again, and I still won't do it.
I mean, you can't because they're on bye the week after that.
Exactly. He'll goose me.
Man.
I know a goose is coming for this guy.
You think he's worth roster right now? Like, if you could get him for free, you think you could? I think it's worth a pickup. If you have an empty spot or
if you're a competitive team, he's not worth it.
No. I agree.
Now, if you're trying to make the playoffs, yeah. If you need the upside guy,
yep,
I would lean him. Like I would start Mike Williams over him. Like I know we talked about him. Much better matchup against Baltimore.
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
and I would start Ricky Pearsall over him.
Definitely Ricky Pearsall.
But I would start MVS over. I would start MVS over the Colts receivers that aren't Josh Downs. Like I know A.D. Mitchell and Alec Pierce provide a ton of upside in terms of just big plays with Anthony Richardson, but I'd rather just MVS because Derek Carr, he's the only big play option.
He's the only guy there. But those two guys for the Colts, they're also guys that you can put them in there on high upside for an 80-yard bomb. So they're right behind MVS, to be honest. They're all in the same
wild
tier.
That the Colts' actual best football receiver is the one guy you're not going to play in fantasy football, in Michael Pittman. He's hurt, so he might not even play this week.
Colts don't even know how to use him, and Anthony Richardson can't get that guy the ball. Yeah. Good God, if his legs dependent on it.
Honestly, I would rest Pittman rest a year. Don't get his back all fucked up.
I agree. Back's nothing to fuck with.
Yeah. Who wins this game? The Saints going to...
Give me the Saints, dude. Yeah, give me the Saints. Two in a row.
At home.
Yep.
I'm going with the Browns.
That's a good pick.
I'm going against the head coach bump. Usually game one it gets it, and afterwards it's a mess. So
usually, yeah.
Browns off a bye. I think they get it together. I think a big game from Nick Chubb. I think they're going to balance out this offense a little bit, and they win the football game.
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, Seattle travels to Seattle travels to San Francisco to take on the Niners. The Seahawks are not favored in this game. Shocked. Niners are 6.5-point favorites at home and over-under of 48 points. So George Kittle's questionable, but George Kittle plays through almost anything.
Exactly.
And you're going to put him in your lineup. He's tight end one. Christian McCaffrey in your lineup. Deebo Samuel in your lineup. Now, I just got an alert that Juwan Jennings went from healthy to questionable while we were recording, so I'm not sure what's going on there.
Trending to ankle injury. He was limited in practice today.
You don't like seeing that on a Thursday. So monitor that. But if he's active, I'm playing him. And if he's not active, I think you can then just slide Ricky Pearsall into your lineup as well. But I'm not playing Ricky Pearsall if Juwan Jennings is active.
Yeah, the injury flared up today in practice. It's something everyone has to keep an eye on right now. So no real other updates besides that. But yeah, I would play Ricky Pearsall with confidence if Jennings doesn't suit up.
Yeah. And then Seattle, DK Metcalf practice in full, so he'll be back. You're obviously putting him in your lineup, superstar. Ken Walker, you're going to play him.
You have to.
It's really great. Geno Smith. I'm not streaming Geno this week.
No,
I'd rather go with Tua and those guys.
I would happily play Purdy, though. I don't know if you brought that up. I missed you bring up Purdy.
I figured my stance is known that I think Brock Purdy's a QB1 going forward. That it's then JSN. He's been a top 15 guy in full PPR leagues. Like, are you playing him this week?
Yeah. He's a top 15. He had a huge week versus the Rams, dude. He had 40 points.
Yeah. So
that kind of skewed his numbers, but he's just been really consistent all year for the most part. I would play JSN. Like, he's coming along.
I would play him over Lockett.
Oh, easily. For sure.
Yeah. And I'd play him over like the line guys we brought up, Brian Thomas, DJ Moore. I'd rather play.
Easily. I think Seattle is going to be playing from back. They're going to be playing from behind.
Yeah.
So I think JSN could be in line for a lot of catches.
Yeah, I'd put him in the same range as Juwan Jennings / Ricky Pearsall, whoever's the number 2 on Sunday for the Niners.
I'd put JSN above them.
Okay, I was going to say I would put Jennings above JSN just with 11 targets. Like, he's Brock Purdy's dude.
Right now, I wouldn't, because he's hurt. Okay. And he also has Pearsall behind him. I get Lockett's on the team, but JSN's going to get his, where Jennings is going to be questioned with an ankle injury.
You messing around with Tyler Lockett, or is he sent him to the waiver wire?
He had a really good week versus the Rams, dude. 15, but he's just inconsistent at this point.
No DK though, and now DK's back.
But that 15 also came off a touchdown. Like, he had 3 for 60 and a touchdown. Without the tutty, he would have had under 10. I wouldn't ship him off to the waivers yet, but this is a big game for Tyler Lockett for sure. Fantasy-wise, that is. He's going to forever be a phenomenal receiver, but fantasy-wise relevance for the rest of the year, this game has a lot to do with it.
Yep. And then you're out on Geno this week?
Yep.
I agree. Who wins this game?
The Niners.
The Niners. Yeah.
McCaffrey's too good, dude. Like, he's game changing, dude.
There's a chance the Niners are favored the rest of the season in every game they're playing.
Yeah.
There's a chance they win out.
McCaffrey's such a huge, like, they're a good team, but you've seen them struggle a lot, dude. And McCaffrey's going to come back in here, and it's instantly changed. Yep. He's going to get way more involved now.
It balances every out, and it makes things easier for Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
And it makes the Niners incredibly elite. Like, they're going to be scary come playoff time.
Yeah, if they can get fully healthy, mostly healthy, it's going to be not impossible to get fully healthy, but mostly healthy, they'll be good to go.
The Atlanta Falcons go to Denver to take on, apparently, my new favorite team, the Denver Broncos. If you're going off my starts of the week. Broncos are 2-point home favorites, over under a 44. I think this game's going to break that over. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think you're going to start Bo Nix. Obviously, you're going to start Courtland Sutton. I'm not messing around with the run game. I don't want any Audric Estime in my lineup. I don't want any Javonte Williams in my lineup. And that's it for Denver. I'm not going to try to force Devon Vele or try to figure out who the number 2 receiver is there. And then Atlanta.
As much as I want to agree that this might be a shootout, I really see it going almost identical to the Kansas City-Denver game.
Okay. I mean, that's possible too. Denver's got a good defense. But I think it's more of like Kansas City just plays those weird close games all the time.
I think they're going to score more points. That game was what, 12-14 or some crazy shit like that?
14-15, I think.
14-15? Okay, so I think it's going to be like 21-17.
Okay, so just under 44.
Yeah.
Atlanta, are you worried about Drake London going up against Patrick Surtain?
I'm not thrilled. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's a temper expectation, but you're not going to bench Drake London.
No, you can't. But you do have to go in this game where Mooney might outscore Drake, and you have to be okay with that. Yeah. So,
are you going to play Mooney?
Oh yeah, I'll play both guys.
Yeah, Darnell Mooney's
a flex guy. Yeah, he's been so good all year. You have to play
top
Mooney.
Top 12. Yeah, is he a wide receiver 1 right now in PPR, full PPR?
In our home league, he's wide receiver 8. So
okay, because I was gonna say I have him in a dynasty league and he's wide receiver 9.
Yeah,
so
in full PPR, he's wide receiver 8.
Real good. It's tough to bench him, which is a crazy thing to say about Darnell Mooney, but he's a guy where you could just lock him in your lineup and you're fine with it. He usually hovers around his projection and he has big play. He has boom weeks as well. Like, he's become a good floor and a good boom guy. So he's
a really good asset this year.
Would you play him over previous game, Jackson Smith and Jigba?
No, give me JSN over Mooney.
Okay, so same tier though.
They are literally so close. Yeah.
Would you start Mooney over Juwan Jennings?
Yes.
Okay. I would start Mooney over both of them.
Yeah.
Then Bijan Robinson, obviously in your lineup, you're not going to pull him.
Newly acquired for this guy.
Yeah, you willing to fuck around with the Denver run game? I'm not.
No, it's going to be Estime this week. It's going to be exciting, but he doesn't have any of the catch work, so I'm not leaning into any Denver back kind of for the rest of the year because it's not going to be one guy. It's going to honestly be 2 and then maybe even a third one kind of sprinkled in here and there.
Yeah, I'm only messing around if Audric Estime becomes the pass catching guy, and that's just not going to happen, or if Javonte Williams takes back his job, and even then, I just think it's too. Sean Payton's really doing his best Bill Belichick of just really fucking over fantasy running backs. It's like, you never know which one I'm going to use. And it's a frustrating time. What about Kyle Pitts? He's the only guy we didn't touch base on for Atlanta's weapons.
You kind of have to play him if you have
buys.
Him. Yeah, there's a lot of buys, and if you have Pitts, he's most likely the only tight end on your team at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He had almost 10 last week in full PPR. It's still a green matchup versus Denver. Just hope he gets in the end zone.
Yeah. He's just been okay here recently after that hot run he was on, but he's become a really good floor guy at tight end.
Yeah, he's been safe.
What about Kirk Cousins?
Not this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would go with Aaron Rodgers over him this week.
Yeah, probably.
And Tua, I would put him maybe a spot or two above Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I think he only has 3 games where he's been a QB 12 in 6-point touchdown formats. QB 1, QB 8, QB 3. Other than that, though, he's not been a QB 12, and it's a rough matchup. Denver's got a really good secondary.
Yeah. Who wins this game?
Denver.
Denver?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Denver.
I think they're going to be... I'm taking the momentum from last week for them. Like, they should have beat the Chiefs. So now they're not going to be celebrating. They're going to be coming in pissed, dude. Like
I was looking at it from Atlanta losing to the Saints, same situation. But
yeah,
if I'm banking on Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton as my start of the weeks, I think if it does become a shootout, like I think it could, then I think it does favor Atlanta.
I
think Kirk Cousins a little more experience than Bo Nix, but if this game is close and it's like a 22-21 type situation where they're just under the 44 over under, I think it favors Denver.
I agree. Denver's defense is going to keep them theoretically on paper in this game, and I think at that point defense is going to win the game, and they got a better defense than Atlanta.
Yeah. All right, game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. The Bills are a 2-point home favorite, an over-under of 46.
It's crazy this isn't Sunday night. It truly blows my mind, to be honest.
The two networks, CBS and Fox, can choose to lock their primetime game, their 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock game.
Gotcha.
So CBS was just like, you can't flex this game.
You can't have our game.
You can have the Bengals Chargers, brother. We'll give you that one.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm so excited for this game, dude. One. I remember that one game they had, dude, and they just went back and forth, dude, and it was so exciting. It was a couple years ago. Every time these teams meet up, dude, it's a phenomenal matchup. Just sit back and relax, start everyone you have in these games, and just let it all ride, dude. This is going to be an amazing game.
I would temper expectations, though, because I think this could end up being a defensive showdown, and it could be like a 21-17 game.
I agree, but I'm not taking a chance of having any of these guys on my bench.
Yeah, like, obviously you're not benching Josh Allen. I think you could bench Patrick Mahomes this week. Buffalo's defense is incredible.
You can, but I would actually lean as him one of my more streamable quarterbacks just based off of what this game can become. His ceiling is
Patrick Mahomes
infinite.
Or Bo Nix.
Give me Mahomes this week.
I would go Bo.
I think Bo has a safer, like, what he could be, but Mahomes' ceiling is infinite.
Guy, Russell Wilson. He's got that great matchup against Baltimore.
I would lean towards Russ. And it's crazy to say that, but I actually told the guy in our home who has Mahomes, he picked up Russ, and I'm like, I like it versus Baltimore. Pass funnel. You can start Russ over Mahomes this week.
What about Justin Herbert?
No, I would lean towards Mahomes.
See, I'm starting all 3 of those guys over Patrick Mahomes.
This is the upside of what this game. Like, I think Kelsey could have 2 scores and 10 catches. Hopkins could have a tutty. I think all of these guys' ceilings, even Buffalo's sides, they're all just through the roof. I'm starting them all.
I'm sort of in the opposite boat. You're obviously going to start Josh Allen. You're not going to bench him. I'm lowering my expectations for James Cook this week. I think he's more of a flex guy than an RB1 or 2. And I don't really want to fuck around with the Buffalo receivers just because, like, Kansas City's done an incredible job at shutting them down. And then with Dalton Kincaid probably out, I'm not playing Dawson Knox. And Dalton Kincaid being out is great for Dalton Kincaid owners because if he plays, you're going to play him because Kansas City's a juicy matchup for tight ends. And then be prepared that Dalton Kincaid gets his 6.5 points like he does every week.
Kincaid's the one guy I'm not really. That's a trap. He's just a trap for the rest of the year, to be honest.
And then who knows if Amari Cooper's going to play? Like he should play, hopefully, because they'll need him if this becomes a shootout.
If
it becomes a shootout,
does play, he's also on the fence of guys I would not. I would happily start Shakir though.
Yeah. Okay. See, I'm fine with James Cook in a flex role. Josh Allen, great play. I don't want to play any receivers. And then Kansas City, it's Kareem Hunt and Travis Kelce for me. And then DeAndre Hopkins, I hold him in the same boat as James Cook. He's a flex guy but I would be more willing to move Hopkins out of my lineup than James Cook.
Yeah, I'm not benching James Cook. I would start Allen, Cook, Shakir, Mahomes, Hunt, Hopkins, and Kelce. I'm comfortable with all those guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough to bench those guys as well with a ton of bye weeks and everything, but I would be trying to move around pieces if I could. But this should be a good game. I lean more towards this just being a defensive, hard-nosed, just fucking beat down.
For all those people that think the NFL is rigged, we will find out this game. The NFL will not let this game, if it is truly rigged, they would not let a defensive shutout be on an option. They would be like, you guys need to go out there. People are insane. The NFL is not rigged. It's professional sports. This game, though, it's going to be amazing regardless. I love defensive showdowns. I love offensive showdowns.
Do you think they hit the over?
Dude. What's the over?
46.
It's 23 from each team. Yes.
Okay. I don't. I think it's under.
I would go over.
Who wins this game, Nick?
Buffalo? Kansas City. Kansas City.
I was shocked. Shocked that you... I was just like, there's no way Nick's going to pick Buffalo.
They have to lose at some point. That's
Kansas City? Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, Buffalo's also on a run. They're 7-2. They're playing great football.
Buffalo's great, yeah. And Allen's really good versus Kansas City in the regular season. Can't do it in the playoffs.
I'd be willing to say whoever loses this game
wins in the playoffs.
If they meet in the playoffs, they win.
It's hard to beat the team twice, dude, especially when these teams are this good. It's hard. Yeah, I'm going to It's going to be a great game, dude.
I'm going Buffalo. I was going to pick Kansas City, but I'm going to shy towards Buffalo winning this game. I think Josh Allen's been playing better than Patrick Mahomes, so I'm going to lean towards the better playing quarterback right now. And I think their defense is a little bit better than Kansas City's.
Just off paper, here we go. So we got Buffalo this week. After that, they got Carolina, Vegas, the Chargers, Cleveland, Houston, Pittsburgh, Denver. They're not going to lose to Carolina. They're not going to lose to Vegas.
They're going to lose to the Chargers.
The Chargers are going to be a rough game. Houston could be a rough game. Pittsburgh could be a rough game. Denver, obviously, we know is going to be a rough game.
Yeah.
So on paper, they have 4 rough games. Carolina, Vegas, Cleveland, not going to be on paper that hard.
I think you're looking at 2 to 3 losses for Kansas City.
I think they're going to end up losing 2. Maybe 2 to 1. I don't think it's going to be more than 2.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of the Chargers, they got the Sunday night game. Cincinnati travels to LA. Bengals Chargers. The Chargers are 1.5 point favorites. Whoa, a trade was completed in our home league.
It's the Derrick Henry trade, probably.
Oh, okay. Over under 48. This game's going to be fun. I don't think there's a way this becomes a defensive showdown. I get the Chargers have a really good defense, but Cincinnati's offense is the best in football, and they got one of the worst defenses.
I'm looking at this trade. I'm looking at this trade. I'm very distracted. I'm sorry.
Is it the Derrick Henry trade?
It is. It's Derrick Henry, and that's to go off script because everyone loves to hear about this. It was Derrick Henry and DJ Moore for Courtland Sutton and Josh Jacobs with picks to also be traded.
Chuck got him.
Yep. Picks are also going to be swapped. So.
Okay. Rough, because I play Chuck final week of the regular season. And I don't have CJ Stroud or Nico for that game.
I agree having bye weeks week 14 because I also don't have Joe Mixon. So obviously Houston's on the bye. But
and
that's rough.
Commanders are on a bye that week too, so rough for Jaden Daniels owners. All
Yeah.
right, back onto it. Bengals Chargers. Chargers favored 1.5 points, over under 48. I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going to start Joe Burrow. You're going to start Ja'Marr Chase.
Yeah, you're going to start
Ja'Marr Chase is playing his way to being potentially the number 1 pick next year.
Oh, man, that's rough. Sure.
I mean, he's playing who?
McCaffrey.
You would still go McCaffrey even after?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
His first game back, he had 16 points in full PPR league.
Yeah, I get that. But
I would go McCaffrey.
There's just a chance that he just continues to get a workload decrease or injured. Whereas that's not happening with Ja'Marr Chase.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not even sure McCaffrey would be. I think Bijan's going to be my RB1 going into next year.
Nah, McCaffrey.
I would pick Derrick Henry over him.
McCaffrey.
That's how he screws you over. All right. Chase Brown. Yeah, Chase Brown's a good play too. T. Higgins, if he plays, he practiced. He was limited today. You going to play him?
No.
Okay.
I don't think he plays.
Okay.
That's why I'm not playing him.
And if he does play, T. Higgins has the classic of just playing a few snaps and being like, I'm not good. I'm still packed up. Pull me out. Chargers side, it's a little more tricky. Justin Herbert, I think, is a great play. You can do whatever you want on Cincinnati. You messing around with these Chargers receivers?
Yeah.
You messing around with both of them?
Yeah, I think Ladd is flexible. I would start Cuge over Ladd, so I think they're both flexible.
Say, I would start Quentin Johnson over Ladd McConkey as well. I think he's got touchdown upside.
I think they're both flexible for sure.
All right, would you start those two guys over Brian Thomas Jr.?
Yes.
Okay, and DJ Moore?
Yes.
Okay. What about Jaden Reed?
No.
He's got the tough matchup. Okay.
No.
And then, would you play him over the Chiefs and Bills receivers?
No.
I would.
Maybe Cooper. Not Shakir, though.
Okay.
Shakir's been so good for the last couple weeks.
What about Hopkins?
Quentin Johnson, maybe, but not Ladd.
Okay. What a wild world we're living in where we're talking about Quentin Johnson as a fantasy relevant guy after he's been pretty much written off. I love the redemption story for him.
Hand that guy flowers. Even if he's not like a legitimate good receiver, he's completely turned around. He's fooling everyone if he's not. He was.
Kudos to Harbaugh.
I've never seen
the confidence in this dude.
A guy drafted and then play his whole rookie season, and every single one was like, that guy's a bust. That guy's one. Nobody going into the season was like, Quentin Johnson might be okay. No. That guy's a bust. I watched him play last year. That guy sucked. But Hardball came in, got this guy's head straight. He's good to go. Q's is a whole different player at this point. He's just a different guy. This is his rookie season.
Yeah, he's been great. What about the Chargers running backs?
Not preferably, to be honest. J.K. Dobbins might end up losing more snaps to Gus Edwards.
I was going to say, I think if Gus Edwards is out on your waiver wire, you should get him because I do think come season's end, he's going to be the starting running back over there over Dobbins.
And 15, 16, 17, they have a really good Tampa, Denver, New England. They're all runnable teams. You could do that. But Kansas City, they got him the week before. I'm not really in on any type of San Diego backfield this week.
But I'm locking in a Gus Edwards touchdown this week, but I'm not confident enough to start him or J.K. Dobbins.
No, I agree. I
think Gus being back really tampers J.K. Dobbins owners that you really can't be playing him anymore. I think San Diego. I like Will Dissly this week too. I like the passing options.
Sure.
I would play Will Dissly over Jake Ferguson.
Taysom Hill?
Yes. Yeah, I'd say they're back to back.
He's pretty close to Taysom Hill. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you need. If you need an upside play, like if you're projected to lose by a good amount and you need an upside, I'm going to play Taysom Hill. But if I'm trying to just keep a close game, like I'm projected to win by like 10 points, I'm going to put Will Dissly in my lineup.
Yeah, I see that. They're complete opposites. Will Dissly is going to be good for 7 to 11 points, 7-11. Yeah. And then fucking Taysom Hill's floor is 0 and his ceiling 33. So,
but if T. Higgins is out, I would play Mike Gesicki over Dissly and Taysom Hill.
Yeah, I guess.
He had 9 targets last week.
I know. It's Mike Gesicki's dog shit.
Yeah, I get it, but he's being utilized in this offense. And so is Tanner Hudson. The Bengals tight ends were getting a ton of work against Baltimore.
Yeah, it's weird.
But I would play Gesicki over both those guys only if T. Higgins isn't out there. But if T. Higgins is out there, I would go Dissly and Taysom Hill over Gesicki.
I agree.
Who wins this game?
Cincinnati.
Whoa, Nick picked the Bengals.
Probably might be the first time all year.
I agree. I'm picking the Bengals. This is a must-win game for them. If they lose this game, you can pretty much wrap their season up, get out of town, Zach Taylor. Chargers can afford to lose this game. They'll be fine. But Chargers win this game, we should probably start talking about the Chargers as one of the best teams in football. 7-3 if they win.
For sure.
Like this team, John Harbaugh's got them, or Jim, whichever Harbaugh they have.
Well coached, brother.
I think they're a superstar away from being a Super Bowl contender. If they can get like a elite wide receiver next year,
you need to get real weapons on that team.
Get them Ashton Chanty.
I think you need more than one weapon. I'm not gonna lie. I think you need a real running back in there and an alpha receiver. I like the receiving crew.
Oh, I think they can get by with Dobbins and Edwards if they got another receiver. But if they draft Ashton Chanty. And see, their cap situation's tough, so it's going to be tough. They'd have to trade for, say, DJ Moore.
See, I think
if he wants out,
I think upgrading their running backs more a priority than.
Well, that's because John Harbaugh wants to fucking run the ball.
Well, I don't like J.K. Dobbins or Gus Edwards as one of them guys as a backup to a superstar. Sure, I don't want them guys splitting carries to my main back though.
But I think they're going to be the team who heavily tries to get Boise State Ashton Chanty.
As they should.
Whether it be try to trade up or not.
Depending on where he goes, running backs are heavily marketed in the draft.
Cincinnati could also be in the market for Chanty, but I think Chase Brown's kind of playing himself into the role where they're not going to address the running back in the first round.
Too early in the draft. I think they'll still address it in the offseason, being free agents with a cheaper signing or a third, fourth round pick. Yeah, but get someone who's not Zach Moss. Get someone who's good.
All right. Monday Night Football, the Houston Texans travel to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. We don't have to worry about the sun in this one because it's at night. 7.5 point favorites on the road. Houston is an over-under of 42. Nico Collins should be back.
He'll be back.
And this guy is still a wide receiver too.
Mm-hmm.
Despite not playing since week 4 in full PPR.
Yeah, he was receiver 1.
That's how good he was.
He was receiver 1 when he got hurt, and he was by far ahead of everybody else. He was amazing.
As a Nico Collins owner and a Nico Collins truther, I'm so glad that he went on this run before getting hurt. And him coming back, I think he's going to take off where he was before. He's a wide receiver 1 going forward. I think he's a first-round pick going into next year. I think he falls into that boat. And I think this just makes Houston better. Like when they had Nico Collins in, C.J. Stroud was playing better football. Joe Mixon, it opens things up for him more. Than like he was great without Nico Collins. Now imagine where, teams now got to play against the receivers. That opens up the running lanes for Joe Mixon. This just betters Houston, and at the right time, heading into the playoffs, they're getting healthy, and they could be dangerous.
Yeah, 100%.
They're going to absolutely stomp the Cowboys.
We don't even have to honestly talk about this game for too long. You brought up Ja'Marr Chase being the first receiver taken. If Nico Collins' season goes the rest of the season, he might be receiver 1 off the board. Just based off what he's doing, he has a legitimate chance to pull a CeeDee Lamb run here. His first couple weeks, by far, receiver 1. If he finishes what he was doing the first 5 weeks, you can't even say the first 5 because his first 4, the 5th week, he only played in 13% of snaps. It was he caught a touchdown and got hurt, pulled his hammy. The kid's amazing. Like, he is in this conversation with Chase, Jamar, or Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb still in that category. And then it's like Amon-Ra, but I would bump Amon-Ra out of that conversation now for Nico. I think Nico is solidified himself as a top 4 receiver.
I agree. Dallas options, you really don't want to play any of them. I think Rico Dowdle's still a fine.
He is,
especially with all the bye weeks. Like I'm playing Rico in my money league with. Kyron. They're my 2 running backs.
They came out in press conferences and there's no backfield split at all. It's Rico Dowdle 100%.
Cool. It should have been that way 4 to 5 weeks ago. Like,
I agree.
I've been saying this all season. Let Rico Dowdle see if he's worth anything, because in the split time he has showed that he's way better than what they have.
Yeah, it's not even comparable to the Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott comparing. Those guys are garbage, washed up. They had their run. They were phenomenal running backs. They're not it anymore. The burst isn't there. They can't do it. Rico, just give him the ball. Cooper Rush isn't it. Trey Lance most likely isn't it. That guy's bad too, dude. Like, this team's a joke for the rest of the year, dude.
I want to see Trey Lance get in. I'd rather see Trey Lance than Cooper Rush.
I agree. Trey Lance is dog shit, but show us he's dog shit, please. Prove to us what he is. We don't know what he is, but
do you think
you can assume he's dog shit by him not even starting over Cooper Rush?
So there's rumors going around that Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders might be a package deal. Do you think Dallas is kind of Do you think Dallas is kind of regretting paying Dak? Because Deion Sanders is the exact kind of coach that fucking Jerry Jones would want. He brings his own media circus. He's his own character.
Oh my God.
He brings a personality. Obviously a former Dallas Cowboy.
I hate
Dallas
those
drafts
guys.
his kid. Like I think Dallas might try to move away from Dak Prescott if that's like something they can work out, because I think that is just something Jerry Jones would want, because that is going to bring so much media to his attention. I think the Cowboys care more about media presence than they do actually winning football games.
They do, and that's the problem. But give me the fucking Costco guys over Deion and Shedeur, dude. Deion doesn't bring the boom, dude. Like, get out of here.
Those guys don't bring the boom either.
The talk, I hate Deion. I hate that guy as a coach. Shadir's talented, but he's fucking little bitch syndrome. Those guys, I'm salty as shit about those guys. I don't care about rumors until anything happens.
Yeah. No.
I can tell you though one thing. If the whole rumors about the Giants getting both of those, I'll happily not be a New York Giants fan if we bring those fucking shitheads in.
What if you just get Sanders?
No, I don't want
No Deion, just Shedeur.
No.
I think Shedur's great.
I'd still be a Giants fan, but man, I'd be fucking miserable, dude. I hate that kid.
Yeah. All right. Houston wins this game, though.
Yeah, it's not even going to close. You see what they did versus Philly. Like, Philly went out there and walked over Dallas. Dallas had 0 points in the second half. Like Brandon Aubrey, I know we don't talk about kickers. He's essentially useless now that Cooper Rush in this offense is just irrelevant. So keep that in mind. If you had Brandon Aubrey carrying your kicker position for the rest of the whole front end of the season, he might just be garbage the back end because Dallas doesn't have an offense.
Yeah. And Houston should have won on Sunday night. Their defense really their offense just couldn't get anything going in the second half. I don't know what happened there.
100%.
But now they got a redemption thing. They got to come out and just fucking blow up on Dallas.
Yeah, I honestly don't think we're going to have to really worry about Houston not performing. Like, Dallas just isn't even Dallas at this point. And it's kind of weird.
Right. Yeah. All right, power rankings to close out the show, 1 through 5. Mine, 4 AFC teams, 1 NFC team.
Makes sense.
Kansas City, or two. Yeah.
What was that?
I forgot who my 5th team was, and I thought it's 1's Kansas City, 2's Detroit, 3 is Buffalo, 4 is Baltimore, and 5 is Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. Whoa, look at you. Happy to hear that. 1, Kansas City, 2, Detroit, 3, Buffalo, 4, Philadelphia, 5, Baltimore.
Philadelphia is my 7 now.
Pittsburgh's my 6.
San Francisco's my 6.
Fair enough.
Philly's my 7. Minnesota's my 8.
Fair enough.
The NFC team's really the bottom end of the top 10. But a lot of good football teams this year. You love to see it. And a lot of bad football teams, though. Like, there's not a lot of middle ground this year.
There is a ton of bad teams, dude, and it's crazy. It's a bad year to be a Giants fan, I can tell you that much.
Oh, maybe you got a good draft pick.
Maybe. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. All right. Drafted Up Podcast. This is in the books. Week 11.
Let me end the podcast a little bit different today.
Okay.
My junior, this is gonna be rough. My junior year of high school, I had a really good buddy pass away, and today would have been his 30th birthday. So I'm just giving a shout out to your family, your friends. Make sure you tell the people you love them. At the end of the day, just peace, positivity to the world. God bless everybody. I'm not very religious, but
yeah,
man, make sure you tell your people you love them, man. Man, I love you, dude. I love everyone that listens. Thank you. I'm gonna end it there before I start bawling on this podcast.
Rest in power to Ben Albro.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
It would have been his 30th today.
All right.
For sure.
We love you guys. Follow us, social media. You know where to find us, at @DraftedUp_pod. We appreciate everything you guys do, listening, supporting the show. And next week, we got something a little special for you. I'm not going to bring it up. Well, you'll find out on Tuesday, where we'll do our usual. We'll do some quick recaps and then do our spotlight for Rookie Process. And then we'll have a little announcement there as well. That's it. Podcast in the books. Adios, guys.
Bye.